Thank you for tuning in for another episode of A Fine Podcast with your hosts, Amanda, and
Joseph, yeah, welcome back, everyone.
welcome back.
We're here for episode 6 of Farmer Wants a Wife.
Mama knows best.
Yes, the episode where the slightly featured mothers are shown their pics.
Very slightly featured. I thought they would be there, like presenting them on the dates or something to that effect.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a much more involvement of them showing up at the site or the farmhouse. And
It was just short clips of them with an iPad going through their pic and explaining why they chose that lady. So, speaking of mothers, it's almost time to celebrate our mothers with Mother's Day coming up.
yes, and the mother in the room,
Who's that?
not me, so by process of
Wow,
elimination.
me. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for Mother's Day. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Thank you to all the mothers out there.
Yes. So if you're a mom and watching this, we appreciate everything that you're doing. You are strong and you deserve to be celebrated.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I wouldn't exist without my mother, so thank you.
That's very true. Same here. We're very appreciative to our mothers.
Yeah.
Two strong, smart, loving, and caring women.
Very much indeed.
Brought to you by 365 Lemonade
All right.
and vitamin C. It's water. It's 0 calories. It has some stevia in it.
All right.
It's great.
Yeah.
How has your week been?
Yeah, it's been all right. I mean, we've had I don't know, I guess it's better than all right, but the sun is shining and we have warmer weather.
Yeah, we can finally say it's not raining.
Yes, we are now into May. So we will have Mayflowers now,
Yes.
or hopefully, but
It's been beautiful outside. We've spent time on the porch, which has been really nice, just soaking in the warm sun rays.
yes, got some fun golfing in. So yeah, it's been good.
Yes. Let's talk about the not so fun things about when it gets hot. Okay, can you guess what I'm going to talk about? It starts with an F. It's one syllable. We just saw one.
Oh, fly! I was
Yes!
thinking bugs, but yeah,
Fly. Flies.
yeah. Yes, I need one of those devices that you see in like the museums where when you open the door and then the air starts shooting down immediately, or
like
actually
in the-
Whole Foods has.
Oh, the Whole
but-
Foods. The Whole Foods. The Whole Foods has it.
or actually our grocery store.
The Whole Foods that we always get delivered now has it. But yes, they do. I was thinking more of like the butterfly exhibit, like whenever you walk into that in a museum.
Well, that's what I was more
Yeah,
explicitly defining. But yes, yeah.
Yeah, so this way the air drops and then no flies can get in.
Yeah, because they get in quite easily here. So
Yeah, we just had one get in and it took like 10 minutes for it to get out.
yes, took a while, but 10 minutes I'll never get back.
10 minutes of watching this wild thing buzz around and
Yeah.
like hit its head from wall to wall to wall. Like, do you think they're having any fun?
Yeah,
What if you were a fly? Would you buzz that much and hit your head that much?
yeah, probably. It'd be fun to fly like that. I
And
could be a fly on the wall and listen to conversations like that old saying.
a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Well, one weird thing about flies, when I'm outside, they seem to come out at like certain times, like they're asleep during the morning. And then they burst awake at like 11 or noon. And then they fly in the same pattern, like a group of them, like 15 flies. They fly in this zigzag pattern. over and over and over. Remember I tried to explain this to you and you're like totally bored of this conversation.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's I'm not bored of it, but I'm just saying that. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what you see them do.
Oh, what are they doing? Why are they? Do they get bored?
No, I'm not a fly expert, but I imagine.
What if you had to study flies? Like if that was your job, you were like the professor of flies.
Flyologist?
Yeah.
I believe that's the real definition. I just made that up.
And you knew everything from small flies to large flies, horse flies to mini flies. Like you knew, I bet you there's tons of different flies, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You were like questioning when I even first mentioned horseflies.
I know. I was like, this is a horsefly. It's so big. You're like, you have not seen a horsefly if you think this is a horsefly.
Yeah.
Didn't you get bit by a horsefly?
Yeah. They're terrible.
Explain that story. You were swimming, right?
Yeah, as a child, I used to go to my community swimming pool. And of course, when you're in the water, usually flies are attracted to the moisture and everything. So, yeah, so I mean, I remember just hanging out in the pool sometimes, playing around, and these things would fly around, and sometimes they'd land on your head. And
How big was it?
I mean, they're a good size. I mean, because they're usually the ones that like fly around horses and they bite horses.
Ugh.
That's why they're called horseflies. But
Really?
yeah,
Flyologist.
yeah. Fun fact for the day.
Tell us more.
But no, I mean they just bite. I mean it just they hurt like the dickens. It's tough.
So it bit your head?
Yeah, usually. Sometimes you get your arms, but generally they
It
like
bit
to
the
land on
top
your
of
head.
your head?
Yeah, because your head hairy, and well, most people's heads are hairy. Some.
Okay, this sounds like a disaster, like my worst nightmare. A fly landing on the top of your head and biting your head? How bad did it hurt?
I mean, it's like one of those things where like it hurts really bad in the moment, and then like when you kind of after it's done, it
It's
doesn't really
done.
hurt. But
After it's done.
it's like
Is it sucking blood out or like that's a mosquito?
I don't know.
Compare it to a mosquito bite.
Mosquito usually don't even like feel it when they bite you.
Yeah, but like the annoyingness of the bite after, does it itch?
No, it's just painful in the moment, and then it kind of goes away. But it hurts like, yeah, it's in the moment. That's it.
It sounds horrific.
No. I mean, it's not. I mean, yeah, it stinks, but it's not.
Yeah,
Right.
we don't have horseflies here. Right?
Yeah, I haven't seen them here.
I just think that the bigger flies look like horseflies until you
Yeah.
set me straight with your horsefly story.
Yeah, whatever. Yes, not nearly the same size.
Well, anyway, do you think there's flies on the farms in this
Oh
episode?
yeah, absolutely.
Tons of
I'm
flies,
sure there's
right?
plenty of horse flies.
And they have horses, so
on the ranches. Yeah.
yeah.
Sure, Colton deals with plenty of them.
Well, this episode, 2 farmers had horses, Jay and Colton.
Well, Jay does some of that as well. Colton's more, he's like just total ranching, but Jay does a little
Right.
bit of ranching as well.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah.
But we had horses featured with Jay in this episode.
Yes.
And the episode started out with Jay's ladies cooking and then taking care of the horses. And here's where we see some of the drama start to happen. So we learn Julia, she does not want to shovel manure and she will not shovel it. And then we see Grace getting in there and doing everything she can to shovel. So clear differences in who wants to be there and who wants to be helping out versus who does not.
Yeah, so Jay specifically is testing Julia because he assigns her the horse manure duty to clean that up, and because she mentioned earlier that she would never do that type of thing, so he's putting her to the test here to see if she'll actually work on that or actually do that.
And she fails.
Because he mentioned too, he's heard a lot of her say words, but not have a lot of action behind the words. So now he really wants to, especially as we're moving further along with things, he really needs to start seeing who's there for him and not. But yeah, so we see her still pretty much not willing to do it at all. Still very hard time. Grace is no problem getting down and dirty and doing the job.
Yes. So off the bat, it just seems like Julia's not putting her heart into this, and Jay can tell.
Yeah, we start seeing kind of the cracks and kind of the reality that Jay needs to be seeing from Julia, that I don't think she's really here for him.
Yeah, it seems like here for TV.
Yeah. Which we've I think we've known for a while, just because I think anyone watching this can see that she's really not there for him, or even just the change in culture.
To country life, like that's not what she's passionate about.
Well, we also, she mentioned, she, comes from Malibu to this, and I was like, well, I just don't think
Yes.
someone who's used to Malibu life is.
And she clearly states that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's much different lifestyles.
But yeah, so leading into Jay's mom, she picks Rissa for Jay's date. And Jay and Rissa meet up and they start talking about family. Off the bat, with these women, the farmers are all talking about family and how many kids they want to have. That was a common theme that we saw.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see that be. It's nice, I think, because especially they've got to kind of make this split decision whether they want to bring them back after this little date that they have. So I feel like they do kind of need to almost just jump into some of the major points in the relationship that are going to be deal breakers or not, to really know whether it's even worth trying to bring them back, especially because there's all this pressure, which you see a lot of these girls mentioning to the farmer before they leave, hopefully you just come back by yourself. And
Yeah, they're getting nervous.
then a lot of them too, right? It's, well, if he does bring someone back, then is he even happy with the lot he's got, or is there something else that he's looking for that we just don't have, are providing? Or it does bring, I think, a lot of doubt into their minds. And I would agree. I think it's almost like you're gonna have a much tougher uphill battle than what you already have.
Definitely.
If you do decide to bring someone back. Because yeah, I could understand. It does say, well, why do you need to bring someone back? And
yeah, it makes you think, oh, he clearly doesn't see me as his wife off the bat. Some women haven't had as much time with their farmer yet, and that could be why, that maybe they don't know enough about them yet to fully see. So they could chalk it up to that. But other than that, if you were in their shoes, you'd probably be insulted, thinking, oh, well, he clearly doesn't value me as much, or he had to pull somebody else in that he barely knows to try to see if they can be his wife, instead of getting to know me better and focusing all your time and attention on me. So
yeah,
it's weird and tricky, but
obviously you have this this bonfire of a connection that stirs and gets kindled or something, that is it really worth bringing them back? Because I get it, right at the end of the day, you want to pick the person for you, but I think some of those connections you have may get kind of ruffled or problematic going
mm-hmm.
going with it.
And we definitely see that with Jay's ladies, so we'll get into that.
Yeah. Well, and two, you see, I'd almost be shocked with like the girls coming in, the animosity they're going to be getting with the other girls anyway. They're already going to kind of be like shunned as the this other outcast or whatnot. So that even makes it tough.
Definitely.
Oh, this was the other thing. Was the only other thing that I find a little weird about this is that they're so big on from the farmers' perspectives they keep talking about, oh, we will, I'm trusting the process, and then in the normal world I couldn't, if I was dating someone, I couldn't go explore a connection with this person, but now I can because I'm in this TV world or whatever. I just find it a little strange where it's all because we're on the show. We're like, it's okay to almost play this grass is the greener on the other side kind of thing.
Which is bad for real life. I mean, you should never do this out in the real world, right?
Right. I mean, you're not going to find many people willing to, tolerate this in a in a normal
It's
setting.
like, wait a second. I don't know if I want to get serious about you, but I need to go date somebody else and then I'll be right back. It's like, what?
Right. Or I'll just have like, you know, fun a little bit with them and then
Yeah, no,
come
I
back
would
to
be
you
like,
or
have your
something.
fun. Goodbye.
Yeah. It's just funny because they're so fun, and this is just all of the reality styles.
Yeah, I find it very
But
bizarre. You're dating so many people
but yeah, it's
and
just this whole thing, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's all right. But
they just have to be okay with it after. Yeah, that's psychologically, there's like things wrong with all of this, but
yeah,
for the men and women, probably. But Jay really connects with Rissa. So Jay says he wants at least 2 or 3 children, and she says she'd go up to 5, and they both value family. So he brings Rissa home, and she walks in and she actually hugs each woman individually, which is nice, but they're all angry. So
yeah. I mean, no one's really receptive about it. I mean, they're putting the hugs in, but there's no, I think, genuineness behind them, and
it's a very weird and awkward situation to be in. Oh, hey, another lover of the man I'm trying to pursue. Like, welcome. Like, are we supposed to be friends while we're competing? I mean, yeah, I don't know. The whole thing's just really weird.
yeah. I mean, it for this formula, right? I think it is the way to kind of create a little bit more drama in the situation, which because I feel like it is a little more. It's not so drama intense, I think, like compared to like Bachelor or something. But I do think this is like where they can kind of sprinkle in some of that.
Yeah, it's pretty much been like smooth sailing with like a little tiny bit of drama sprinkled here and there. And then now it's like, boom, look what we have.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we see Julia and Tiana really agitate. Well, I mean, Karina seems quite. I mean, they're all
Oh, at
agitated.
the end, Karina seems like almost the maddest when she was like keeping it together here at the beginning when Rissa first came in.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I think all of them are
They're at
seem to be
mad,
very taken aback by this,
but
and
they're at like different levels of their anger for this. Like I would say Julia's at like level 100 and Tiana's like at an 80 at this point.
yeah. Which I do kind of wonder. I almost think with Jay and his situation, the, I mean, I think Grace and Karina, he's kind of developed a little bit of a connection with. Julia and Tiana, he definitely hasn't built anything with them.
It's just been all drama.
Yeah. And this is where I almost was thinking he may be okay with bringing Rissa home, was because those two he's already, I think, almost pretty much like X'd out in his book. And it's pretty much
Right.
just Karina and Grace. And meanwhile, there's still supposed to be the 5 girls or whatever that you start with. So this was almost a way to replace
He definitely saw it as
the
that.
two of those.
Yeah.
Because these were, or she's a lot, I think she's a lot more of an option for him than they were. So that's
True.
why I think he was almost more inclined to bring her in, because he kind of, I think, knew that he was already going to drop them. And maybe he thought, oh, by, getting rid of them and just having the one, then maybe,
There
Karina and Grace would
yeah.
be okay with this, maybe. or be more open to it, I guess, because at least he's cutting down to.
See, I could see that, but then I could still see their side, which would be like, oh, you could have had like a dynamic, like a top two already with us if you were really serious about one of us. Two,
Yeah, I mean, regardless, it always hurts their chances, which is
yeah,
not going to be, on their side. Yeah, it stinks because it definitely is tougher.
yeah.
But yeah, it is. This,
But that's definitely why he brought her in. Was I
yeah,
know I'm not going anywhere with these two women, and Rissa was very nice, and we connected, and we share a lot of the same values. So
yeah, yeah. Which then we see Julia basically want to take him aside, and this is where the connection ends. And
yeah, he says to her, he doesn't see that she's really happy here or that she even wants to be here, which I thought good for Jay for saying this to her because it definitely has been showing to all of us here that she doesn't want to be here. And then she fully admits to being checked out. She says, "Yep, I was checked out. I wasn't really into this." And he says, "We need to part ways now." And she says, "Whatever." And then she calls him boring in her talking head after.
yeah, it's one of these. I mean, I'm glad I was hoping he would see this side of her sooner rather
Just like
than
a
later.
childish side.
Yeah, well, especially when they flip just this 180 and then they're just willing to bash or just say the whole thing was dumb and stupid and all this stuff. So it's nice to see that she's gone because she was not helping his cause in any way.
Yes, and she ends by saying, "Farm life is absolutely not for me." So
Which I think everyone
everyone
knew
knew
that
that.
pretty much right when you
Showed
introduced
up. Yep.
yourself. So.
That's funny. So then things don't end there. Tiana pulls Jay over for a chat almost like right after the Julia conversation. So it's like back to back chats with Jay. And she doesn't know if there's a reason for her to be here anymore, she says. And then she says, I probably shouldn't be here. And Jay says, all the drama that you've caused has really made it hard for me to get to know you as a person. So all I know is the drama surrounding this whole situation that you were in. And then they both mutually agree it's time for them to part ways. And she says in her talking head that she didn't like that he brought the other women home. And that's why she decided she needs to get out.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand her side. I mean, she mentioned, especially because she really hasn't had a whole lot of time yet. She hasn't had a one-on-one. And
She was picked on by the other women.
yeah, there was all the drama with that. And then, yeah, you are bringing someone new to the table.
Just not a good time for her all around.
Yeah. And I think, too, right, I mean, I would say, right, for someone that she would find who is more interested in her, right, is probably going to have more of an active, even if it wasn't like, this show type setting, would have probably been spending more time with her, already had like a one-on-one or
Right.
whatever with her. So yeah, I mean,
This far in.
yeah. And by now with this, so yeah, I think it is really kind of just better that they clearly kind of know it's not going to happen. So I am shocked seeing this compared to like The Bachelor, how much more the, in this case, like the women are the person trying to win the suitor or suitress would be inclined to actually kind of remove themselves from the situation. Where I feel like in Bachelor, I haven't really seen yet
A lot
someone
of
that
that
says, "Oh, there's no connection here, so I'm gonna wait." Like it's just
self-elimination.
right.
type.
It's just always until the person chooses not to have them continue on.
Yeah, I would say it's like a rare occurrence in the Bachelor series. I think we saw it once on Golden. Someone left. Gary season.
Yeah, Joanna left,
Or was it Joan?
or Joan left but she left.
Joanna.
Yeah, Joan left because of she had I think a death in the family or something
Right.
family related.
But not because of the connection.
Right.
So you're saying like, yeah, purely for the connection.
Right, where it's
Which,
like, I don't see this
yeah,
working out with you, so I'm
I'm
just gonna go
shocked.
ahead and
Because wouldn't the ladies or the men have that ability to say, hey, like we just don't have a connection. I'm gonna walk off. But no, they stay for the long haul.
I don't know, maybe it's different with I don't know, maybe they have something in the contract or something that they can't.
Or maybe they know them. Oh, I don't know, but that doesn't make sense because here they got their picture beforehand and they picked their farmer. I was going to say if they like went in knowing. I don't know. Yeah, that's weird. Or maybe they just are waiting for their connections to get stronger if they're not. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So after all of that, this is where we see that Karina is very upset with Jay right now. Very upset. And then in the preview for this week, we see that Grace is now mad too. So both of them have been affected.
Yeah, I mean, it really I mean, this seems to have caused a lot of collateral damage for Jay, so it seems like he's got a lot of work ahead of him
Yeah,
to
better hope it was worth it, Jay.
try to fix these.
Better hope there's that strong connection with Rissa.
Yeah. I mean, I would say out of the first, right, I think it was a pretty decent going, so I mean, they may.
I mean, yeah, they did seem to be a good match.
Yeah.
So we will see what happens there. But moving on to Farmer Colton. So we see the ladies brushing horses in the field. And then we learn that his mom picks Kate. And Kate works in corporate HR, which was super exciting for
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
She is not a farmer girl.
HR. And then they talked about kids. So he says he wants more kids and she wants kids as well. So he told her about his 2-year-old son and they seemed to get along. It just didn't seem like a good romantic connection. There wasn't a spark that I felt between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel. And then they gave his talking head, Colton, where he was like, "Oh, this was going well. I felt like I could talk to her for hours and all this." It almost felt too. I felt like the way when he was talking and saying that it felt almost like he had to say that to kind of create this suspicion of whether he was going to bring her home
Right.
or not.
Yeah.
Because it really, their interaction. I mean, it looked fine, but it definitely didn't look like a crazy spark or anything like that.
It didn't look romantic. It looked like two friends.
Yeah, just a
chatting or
platonic
something.
thing.
Right.
So I kind of had a feel. I felt from it that he probably wasn't going to
Pick her. Yeah.
bring her home, and especially because it's got to be like I said, this crazy thing. Otherwise, if it's only mediocre, you're not gonna bring her home and then potentially
Everything.
ruin everything else you've got with all the other women. So
Yeah. So he was the hero because he did not bring her home, but he did try to fool them when he came in.
yeah, but I thought that was funny because that was I felt like it was very much him. He's got this
Goofy sense of humor.
yeah, the goofy humor and yeah, I thought it was a great way to or just a unique way to kind of break the news to them.
Yeah, he opened the door. He's like, "Come in, other women," and then he's like, "Just kidding. I didn't bring anybody home."
But this whole thing was weird because they shot him driving the truck home. And you could see in the passenger spot, there's no one in the car.
This was super weird. You mentioned that, and then we went back and rewatched it a couple times, and you can see like the seat and the silver parts of the chair. Like obviously, there's not a person.
I was gonna say I saw it initially, even from the first time, but they multiple angles they gave of him driving where you could just see it. So I was like, whether she's in, well, and then he's got like almost like a tow truck, so there's not even really a back to it.
You're
It's
like,
just a
maybe
half
she's
cab.
laying down.
So yeah,
in
unless
the
he's
back.
doing that, but
Be super dangerous. But yeah, that was very odd that they didn't catch that, and then they still try to make it like mysterious as to whether or not he brought her home.
yeah, because after that, and I will say, I think the third to go out of the bunch, so I wasn't looking with the others. But I don't think they gave a shot like that with any of the other guys
Right,
driving.
yeah.
Or they made sure to keep the passenger spot hidden
Yeah,
from the
because we were
shot.
like, we'll just look for the other
Because I was curious if
farmers
they
coming in,
do kind of that same
and they didn't.
shot editing, you know, with the others, but they didn't.
So yeah, that was very odd. But Colton's women are very happy, and he has some strong connections going on with them. So I think this was definitely the right decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's in a good place with his ones currently. There's no need to jeopardize. So
Definitely. What did you think about his joke with Kate about horses being the Lord's Uber?
I thought it was kind of creative. I mean, it was funny.
How did that come up?
I don't know. She just said, I think it was something like you can't take an Uber out here or something, or no, actually no, I don't know what.
Or back at the farm, we have horses. Horses are the Lord's Uber.
I don't remember how it got brought up now.
That was funny though.
Yeah.
So next we have Farmer Matt, and we open up with Matt cooking breakfast for the ladies, and he's using a lot of his avocados. They made avocado toast that looked really good, and Matt does admit that the girls aren't getting as much emotion and attention from him as they would like. So he's kind of becoming aware that he probably needs to get in the game and pay more attention to the women that he's on this show with. So,
Yeah, I mean, they all recognize it, and then he's, I think, starting to realize. I mean, he mentions that he's just not the type to really open up or be like that. It just takes him a very long time to do that. But obviously, in this setting, you kind of have to rush some things. So I think he's starting to realize that he needs to move a little bit faster with things.
yeah. Or he's just finally interested. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we learn that his mom picks Amanda, and she works in pharmaceutical sales. And they talk about kids, and they both agree that they want as many kids as possible. So their connection, it was almost similar to Colton. Maybe it was a bit stronger than Colton's connection or lack of connection with Kate, but it didn't seem too strong from what we saw.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, I'd say it's probably a little bit better, or maybe a little bit more of something there than compared to Colton's, but it still didn't. But I think the wild card in this scenario, I think, is with Matt being so undecisive about things, was whether she was almost just going to kind of strong arm him or something into having her come back. And
Yeah.
the girls talked
Yeah.
about that a lot. They were so worried that he was just going to
Say yes
bring her
no matter
back
what.
almost just purely because of that versus actually
Being decisive.
right.
Yeah.
And then they also and then two here with like the talking head, man, they asked her, or actually no, she brought it up in the date. I got flown out here for a 7-hour flight or whatever for a 3-hour date or something. So hopefully it lasts longer than that. I don't want to be flown right back home or something.
Yeah. And she had to go right back home.
Yeah, which that I thought, oh man, this is like really where I think he might cave here and
Feel pity.
bring her back or something. But
maybe he's thinking like, man, I haven't even like established good connections with the people I have. If I add another woman to this, that's gonna be way more work for me.
oh yeah, especially because I mean, he'd be back to 5, and he was already the one that had 5 the longest out of any
I don't
of the
think he'd be able to
others.
handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he needs less options, not more
Yes,
options.
less options and get down to getting to know them. So
Yeah, and I think he does kind of, like you said, I think maybe during this date he kind of probably understood that better or realized that. So
yeah. So as the girls are talking before he walks in, Halle says this is her last straw, and if he brings back somebody, I will just walk out. And then he doesn't bring back anybody, and the women are ecstatic. And Matt again realizes he needs to pay a little bit more attention to the women that he has, and now he has that opportunity. So
well, I was like, wow, I'm pretty surprised how bold they are. But I mean, they kept, talking about, wow, indecisive Matt made a decision and all these
Yeah, which is kind
at
of
the
bad
very
that if that's your future boyfriend that you're like, "Oh yeah, indecisive Matt." Like you have this crazy nickname.
yeah, I don't know. I was like, just
But it's true because he's
yeah,
so passive about everything.
yeah. I was just shocked that they were all like kind of making this big thing out of it with him like right there. Just like, man, I don't know,
Yeah,
but
that was really weird.
I don't know.
Um,
Maybe it'll make him realize that yeah, he really does need to just make some progress with them.
Hurry up, Matt.
Yeah.
Let's get your head in the game. So we'll see what happens with him next time. But moving on to Farmer John, they are on his farm and they are cleaning out the chicken area and handling the chickens. And we see Claire here talking with John, and the other women are jealous of this current conversation.
Yeah, they have a nice little interaction here, and then I don't know. They make these jokes about hugs and how she hugs versus how he hugs, and
And the other women are like, "Oh, are they hugging? Are they hugging?"
yeah, you see Lily kind of taking glances, and then Kaylee's not feeling too well about it either, and
Yeah, so this already isn't good that they're getting jealous with just the women there.
this well, I understand that. I mean, I guess right. I mean, yeah, it's the competition, right? Almost essentially, but I mean, you've all had. I mean, this is the one girl who hasn't had any one-on-one yet time yet at all, and like there's this little interaction. So I don't know. From like seeing the other ones kind of be jealous or upset about this, I was like, I mean, she hasn't had any time yet. So
Right. Yeah. It's
wouldn't
true.
you rather let her have this versus like the one-on-one date that you know
Oh,
you
good
you
point.
all got or something? So I
Yeah.
mean, sure, I'd rather take the longer time first. I mean,
Right.
he's got to have time with all of them.
He has
So
to get to know her to make a decision about her.
it,
So,
yeah.
yeah, that's a good point. So then we dive into his mom's pick, and it's Juliana. We learn that she is a private chef and she went to school in Italy, which is really interesting. And then she just wins him over. This is like the biggest connection of the night here. So she says she wants to pick food out for him. She wants to cook for him. She wants to do everything for him. She wants to be a mom. And she says her minimum number of children she wants is 4. And his is 6. So they're just talking, laughing, bonding about everything. She'll definitely let him have the driver's seat.
Yeah. Not so much Samantha.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we see, and even as she comes walking up, he says, oh boy, this is going to be, or paraphrasing, but, this one's going to be, this could be a good challenger in the midst or.
Yeah. He's already just attracted to her. And then he just starts talking to her and he's like, wow. Blown away.
Yeah, I mean, they do seem to they hit it off pretty well. So, which then he decides to bring her back and
this causes drama.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say these girls took it definitely better than
Jay's women.
Jay's girls because they.
But that was like such a huge just shock maybe to his women. It's like, wow, he actually did it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's.
Especially since he doesn't have anybody like Jay did in the mix, like Tiana and Julia, where.
Right. There hasn't been much drama or anything between them
Right.
all. He's made a pretty good effort to know all of them pretty well. I mean, Claire the least, right? But I would say out of the farmers, he's probably talked to them the most,
Right,
or
yeah.
each of them at least. But so yeah, I would say it almost does feel maybe a little bit kind of a blind side by them, and we see Kaylee who gets really emotional about it and takes it the heaviest or the hardest.
And he talks to her.
Yeah. Well, then we see first we see the introduction scene part where they all meet, but then it's like almost immediately all of them walk out besides Juliana.
So then she's just there by herself, just sitting around being filmed by herself.
Well, that was the part. They keep filming, or they keep while they're talking, they keep throwing this like little cutback scene of like Juliana just sitting in the house, which I was just from like a filming, I was like, this must kind of be weird because she's just sitting here alone, and they just have to film her, just I don't
Awkward
know, making
times for her.
faces or
Right.
what are you supposed to film here?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they all, which then and this is that whole dynamic of like it is weird for them because she's just in the house totally by herself while he's out here with all the other girls, basically hating that he's made this decision. And I would think it'd be very tough for them to get adapted into the house because I think the other girls are always going to have
A thing against them. They didn't come in
right,
with the OG crew.
yeah, and you're always going to kind of be this ostracized outcast compared to the rest of them,
Right.
and so yeah, I mean, even from like the girl's perspective, like you better be ready to probably just if you're really serious about him or want to be with him, it's gonna be an awkward time in the
It's just very awkward. Very awkward to come in this late in the game and be accepted by people. It's just not going to happen no matter who the crew is at the house.
yeah. I will say John at least did a smoother way of talking it over with the girls.
Yeah, talk about that.
I mean, it was, with like Kaylee, right? He was saying, oh, well, it'd be a disservice to both of us if I didn't bring her back because I may have, mine could wonder about what could have happened with that. And that would have obviously been like a hindrance in our connection.
And you wouldn't want that for me. And she's like, oh, yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. He was like almost a little, like he was a smooth talker here and how he
Crazy.
presented it.
And then what'd you think about his conversation with Lily where she asks him to open up his heart more to her?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I could see why she asked for that because I don't think he has been very much forward with any of them. I think he's done a better job than like Matt, but I don't think he's done like a super great job with it. And maybe, there was so much focus on where I think it could have been that he had something with Samantha and because he did mention like at the beginning where again, where it's like now that I don't have Samantha, I can focus on the other girls and really explore their connections. And
Mm-hmm.
it almost does seem like I think he may have put Samantha pretty high against the other girls, and now
Yes.
so they didn't get a lot of time. And now that Samantha's out of the picture, he can do that. But from their side, they haven't ever gotten that much. So maybe he
Right.
will show that, and maybe. But I think it was fine for her to at least go ahead and mention that and just
Yeah,
let him know how
like,
she's
hey,
feeling.
I'm here
Yeah.
too moment. So that was good. But yeah, his women probably aren't feeling the greatest right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna have an uphill battle to try to make this work. So
But that connection that he has with Juliana now, that'll be interesting to see what happens.
yeah, I will. I think that it'll make things muddy.
Yeah, because it'll continue to be strong, I think. It would take a lot to break that now.
Yeah, I think it is going to cause some drama among the other women.
Yeah.
So,
So we will see what happens next time.
yes. Yeah. Will they get along? Will they tear each other apart, or will they get along?
Just fine. Buddy, buddy. The buddy system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time will tell.
Indeed.
Thanks so much for watching yet another episode of A Fine Podcast.
Yeah, we hope you've liked it, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and check us out on social media if you haven't already.
Yes, and stay tuned for next week, and we look forward to reviewing the next episode with you.
Yes, we will check you out next week when we go into episode 7.
That's right. See you then.
Ciao.
Bye.